Stephanie 9 was last seen walking along Highway 93 in Challis after bowling with her friends in October of 1993. There are two different accounts on where Stephanie was heading after leaving the bowling alley, but one thing we know for sure is she never made it home that night, and authorities believe she was abducted against her will, and her case remains unsolved. It's our 24th week, and we are still in Idaho. Stephanie was the oldest of 4 sisters and was described as a tomboy and was part of a youth bowling league and enjoyed hunting and fishing with her father. On October 11th, 1993, Stephanie's mother would give her money for a snack and drop her off at the bowling alley to hang out with friends. Around 4:45 p.m., Stephanie left the bowling alley and around 6 p.m. headed towards Challis High School, which was across the street from the bowling alley. There are two different accounts on where Stephanie was planning to go after she left the bowling alley. Some believe she was headed towards the high school for soccer practice, and some believe she was heading back home towards her house, which was about 500 yards away. At 8:15 p.m., Stephanie hadn't arrived home, and her parents immediately notified the police, who coordinated an extensive search covering 700 miles in 2 counties and found no trace of Stephanie. There were witnesses that remember seeing a yellow pickup truck with red pinstripes around the area at the time Stephanie vanished, and investigators believed it could be connected to her disappearance. Keith Glenn Heckcock was known to go by the name Mark. Mark became one of the biggest suspects in Stephanie's case 9 years later in 2002. Mark had kidnapped a 14-year-old girl from outside of her home in the early morning hours of June 5th, 2002. The young girl was able to escape later that afternoon when Mark went to work, leaving her chained to his bed in his home. When investigators arrived attempting to arrest Mark, he fled in his vehicle, leading them on a 40-mile high-speed chase that ended on a dead-end road in Big Hole Mountains. When he was approached by officers, he shot and killed a police dog, shot and wounded one officer, and then turned the gun on himself. When investigators dug into Mark's past, they learned that he owned a yellow pickup truck and was in Challis when Stephanie disappeared on a hunting weekend trip. There's another connection to Mark that stuck out to Stephanie's family and investigators. Stephanie's great-grandparents were camping near Twin Peaks and believed that Mark was the, quote, weird guy, end quote, with a yellow pickup truck who was camping next to them the weekend before Stephanie went missing. They're also looking at Mark for the disappearance of Amber Hoops, 20, who disappeared from Idaho Falls, Idaho. He had worked for her grandparents. Unfortunately, investigators have not been able to officially link Mark to either Stephanie or Amber's case, and both cases remain unsolved. Sadly, both of Stephanie's parents would divorce in 1994 and are now both deceased. Her mother died in 1997 and her father in 2012, both passing from natural causes, without ever knowing what happened to their daughter. Stephanie still has an extended family and 3 sisters who deserve answers, so please continue to share Stephanie's face and her case. When Stephanie was last seen, she was 9 years old. Around